Honest J. Nowak. Oh yeah. A pleasure to meet y'all at last, and welcome back to Honest J. Nowak. So, here's another pretty good subject I feel like I should have talked about at some point earlier on here in the series, but what I'm going to talk about today is game consoles. And yes, I'm mainly doing this in honor of James D. Rolfe from the channel Cinemassacre, and from its official website, cinemassacre.com. James D. Rolfe, of course, really knows a lot more about this than anyone around here would, mainly because of the existence of the angry video game nerd. But nowadays, we've got ourselves a lot to talk about. Video game consoles are a really big subject out there that we shouldn't leave behind anytime soon. Now, to describe my point of view on it would be very similar in ways to trying to set up a Hot Wheels track, because it can be easy and it can be hard sometimes to try to figure out how to tie loose ends and to keep everything in tip-top shape as much as possible. But mainly, what I'm going to bring up here is that in terms of how game consoles were around for so long, there's just been so many of them that we've had for not even 50 years. And there's just been so many things out there that do revolve around subjects based on the consoles themselves that were around at the time and the ones that we have today. Of course, the main consoles that are, well, considered mainstream in today's time include the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One, the Nintendo Switch, and the upcoming Google Stadia. Now, the Google Stadia isn't technically supposed to be a console because the console thing port itself is more like the size of an Amazon Alexa or other type of home device that you would commonly use around your house. But probably the size of the console wouldn't really matter because of how many different shapes, sizes have been existent over the last 40 plus years. The fact that the Magnavox Odyssey was the first ever home video game console to ever exist. And of course, anyone who remembers that review that James D. Rolfe ended up making on that console itself years ago. Of course, it does hold its place as the oldest ever known home video game console to exist. But eventually, within 10 years or so, during 1982 to 1983, there have been so many consoles that came around. Of course, James D. Rolfe has so many more information leading up to those factors that determine how the game console empire itself ended up working eventually. But by 1984, an enormous crash ended up taking place, taking lots of companies down with it. Of course, companies like Nintendo and Sega would of course rise up and begin to claim the throne of the gaming empire itself, just to see what place would hold most people's hearts at. Nintendo and Sega became some of the biggest competitors ever known for a full decade or so. Until, of course, Atari started coming back again and again and again with other consoles around here. But eventually, by 1995, sometime before Toy Story would come out, the Sony PlayStation was released into the marketplace for the first time. And wow, the console was a masterpiece. The PlayStation 1 itself was one of the best known ever consoles we could ever have here in today's time. There's so many things out there that do relate to how well the PlayStation itself actually ends up working well. Even in today's time, a lot of people still have that. But of course, it managed to get even better with the PlayStation 2. The PlayStation 2 had in fact become the best ever gaming console known to humankind. But eventually, of course, other consoles ended up coming in. Microsoft ended up joining the game by 2000 with the premiere of the original Xbox. And then about 5 years later, with the Xbox 360, which has become another one of the best known consoles ever known. And eventually, of course, the PlayStation and the Xbox would continue to get better and better and better, with Nintendo following closely behind with the addition of the Wii to their console lineup. Eventually, of course, Nintendo would follow up with the Wii U, then the Nintendo Switch, which is another one of those ultra portable consoles out there. The Nintendo DS and other consoles out there that were really ultra portable became some of the best known as well. But Sony and Microsoft still really held their ground with the addition of the PlayStation 3, the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, the Xbox One X, and other editions of those consoles around. But eventually, we're going to get ourselves another Xbox and another PlayStation to come around as well. The PlayStation 5, as well as another possible Xbox model, will eventually come to the marketplace and probably grab ourselves in a different way. It'll grab our eyes, it'll grab our ears, or grab our attention in every spectrum possible. But I feel like that we still got some time left to wait. So we could probably still rely on the use of the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and other consoles out there to really, really do well here from now on. There's just so much around there that I can actually relate to how today's consoles are becoming some of the best known ever in our lives, but there's just so many things out there that I can talk about, and I probably wouldn't spend an entire hour talking about something like that. So that's why I'm probably just going to have to go ahead and move on at some point. So if you want to see more going on my channel, make sure that you like, subscribe, comment, follow me on social media, and stay on the Hollywood side.